Hey, this is Gareth and Bruce. This is our first attempt at a podcast.
We just don't know where it's gonna go.
You got more of the gruff voice. I got more of the
Softer feminine voice.
screw you.
Hey.
I don't know, I felt a little snobby when we hit 10 episodes.
Okay, that's an interesting question.
The two of us can be Vin Diesel. Gareth can drive like him. And I can
You
look
can
like
look
him.
Welcome to Spaghetti Junction. My name is Gareth,
My name is Bruce.
and we talk about things. We just don't know
know
where they're gonna go.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to Spaghetti Junction Podcast. My name is Gareth,
My name is Bruce.
and we talk about things.
Just don't know where they're gonna go.
Exactly.
How's it, man?
I am fine.
Good.
I'm good,
I'm
man.
glad.
Working through this cold, but I have lost my gruffness, so it lasted for like one episode. That sucks, but it's
Yeah,
gone.
you were sounding so sexy.
It was, eh? It was good.
You're sounding almost as sexy as me, but not
True,
quite.
that takes a while.
I know.
I can't get there.
I put the work in.
There's levels, and I just, there's levels.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you, what came first, Coke or Pepsi? The chicken or the egg kind of thing? No.
I have no idea, but I have a sneaky feeling that you're going to tell me.
You know what? Maybe I will. So, Coca-Cola was invented in 1986 only. Did you know that?
1986.
6.
No.
Yeah, I've got it right here, pal.
1986.
1980s. No.
1886. No. that
Okay,
was-
then maybe they made a boo-boo.
I
Because
think
this
they
is
made a boo-boo.
1986, but I've had Coke before then.
No, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was a medicine back in
That's correct.
possibly early 19. I
Okay,
don't
so then this is wrong. But I don't care about Coke. That's not what I'm
No, we
bringing
don't
this
care
up.
about Coke.
Pepsi was done before Coke. 'Cause this is 1893. I'm not going to beat 1893.
See, that's why
Pepsi
that's why
evolved.
Pepsi's nicer than Coke.
Pepsi evolved. It's basically invented by a pharmacist who invented his own sugar drink in 1893.
There you go. Whereas Coca-Cola was a medicine that actually contained cocaine.
For real.
For realsies, Bruce.
That's okay, it's my flaw. I don't care.
I thought we on your laptop.
I have some kind of creature, like a rodent somewhere here,
Oh dear.
that when the lights are off,
You hear it.
and I'm chilling and I'm watching something, or I'm playing, or I'm just about to go to bed, there's like a
Yeah.
at the back of one of freaking here,
I had a mouse in my house.
and I don't know what it's doing or how it's still alive.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm thinking is, my big bag of dog chunks that
Yeah.
should have been gone with little Flash.
Mm.
I'm thinking maybe it'll get its munchies from there.
Yeah.
So I might have to. I don't want to kill it though. As
I
in,
was like,
as
okay.
in, like a rat poison kind of thing. But I mean, it's not bothering me yet.
Yeah.
But before I leave, I'm gonna have to just say, hey guys, there's a mouse in here, and
You can find it. You can get a humane trap or whatever. Just don't do poison, because then it's
a humane trap.
you get those traps where it traps the mouse and then you can release it out.
Really?
Yeah. You don't. It doesn't have to be
Oh,
a
that's so
traditional
sweet.
mouse trap. I was like the mouse that was in my house. I'm like, I want to kill this thing. It's
Why?
disturbing
Well,
me.
what's it doing or not doing?
No, it's just irritating. But then I haven't been at home for a while, and I think it's realized that there's no food source. So
And you think it's gone?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
So that was quite a previous episode, wasn't it?
It was a heavy one,
Caramba.
but it was an important chat. I think it was very sort of topical, and it was in
interesting.
case you haven't heard it, it was in light of recent events conversation.
Nice.
Whereas as we were saying about today's one, also a bit of a heavy one, but it seems to be
It's
an
a general. It's
an ongoing
yeah.
issue.
like it's been going for
Yeah,
ever. I think even when mankind began.
I think it's just become very prevalent because of the internet and social media and
And what is that, Bruce?
the world of the incel.
The incel. That's right.
No.
And at first when I heard it, it sounded sexual, like incel, or it sounded very. I don't know. It just like has that like And that's where my brain goes. The word incel, I'm thinking, okay, that could be something sexual that is probably not healthy, but it's not, is what we're trying to say. Yes, Bruce. Save me here. Save me from my hole.
Well, it's very interesting when you said it because, like I've been very aware of this term for quite a while, and you said that
a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So before we carry on, let us just clarify
let's
what
go.
the term is.
Let's go from there. Yeah.
An incel. The word incel is actually short for two words. Actually involuntarily celibate, mainly pertaining to guys.
Yes, it's mostly guys.
It's pretty much.
There is a femcel. I was reading. I think it was called femcel, but I think it's got nothing on that level of incel. Yeah, for sure.
And so basically, this is guys who wish to have sexual intimacy, but are unable to attain it. For all their trying and for all their efforts, they are unfortunately not. Sometimes they are virgins. Sometimes what happens is they have had maybe one sexual experience and then nothing after that.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
So they're
kidding. Carry on.
and this sort of leads them to down sometimes a very dark path of being very nihilistic about life, to the point where they're very misogynistic. They have a hatred of women, and all that. So it's really tough for a lot of guys, and we're living in an age where a huge number of young men are really not doing well within the dating marketplace, if you like.
Marketplace.
The dating.
I like
the dating
you call it
scene.
a marketplace.
Listen, you know what?
I guess in some ways it's a market, but that's a problem.
It is.
It's a marketplace, like a bunch of animals.
It's brutal, and
I've never heard that being called a marketplace
or the sexual marketplace. Let's put it that way.
I heard it called a marketplace.
It's
dating and relationships. A marketplace sounds like you go in and you pay your money, and then you get somebody to be with you, and then they leave the next day. That's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's a weird world. So that's what we're talking about today, is involuntarily celibate guys who
sorry, my screen's
are really struggling.
My screen's gone. So excuse me, guys. I'm going to be reading off my phone.
No problem.
I feel like a friggin' gaydar, I'll be honest. Damn gaydar.
Okay, so let me. So I'll sort of just set the tone for some of the things that they maybe believe and.
Yes, set the tone. It's good.
So incels typically have an extremely negative and nihilistic view of dating, relationships, and women in general, because they have no success. They believe that only the top 20% of good-looking, in-shape men are desired by women.
20%.
Top 20%.
And the 80% have nothing. Is that what they think?
Pretty much. Well, a very interesting stat on from Tinder, because with technology we have data. Like with something like Tinder, women have rated 80% of guys on Tinder as just basically unattractive, which can get pretty depressing.
Say that again. The stats or what?
Yeah, the data that Tinder has collected.
Is what?
Sorry,
I didn't get it.
That the women on Tinder find 80% of men unattractive, and 80% of men on Tinder as unattractive
in their views,
and will only swipe on.
So that means that
top 20.
If we get swiped, then we're in the top 20%.
Some woman has actually found you attractive enough to go, yeah, okay.
Or actually, sorry, it's not the same thing. So we really won't get into it. But they have way more people contacting them than vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, women have all the choice on dating sites. Yeah. And there are more guys than.
Okay, carry on back. Yeah, cool. Back to incels.
And incels.
Incels. Thank you very much. Whoopsie.
And believe that they believe that there is nothing they can do to change that. So they revolve their lives around wallowing in self-pity, either on their own or on internet forums where they find a common interest or a tribe, and they can just commiserate together about how sad their lives are.
Okay.
Because they can't find a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't think that a lot of these guys are now just wanting to go out and have sex with a whole bunch of women. I think these guys just naturally desire a relationship, a girlfriend, possibly get married one day, have kids.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything more extreme than that, but they just really, really struggle with finding just that basic situation.
Can I give you a different description? I mean, it's the same, but it's
It's the same but different.
well, it's exactly it's similar. It's the same thing as insult, but I find this interesting because your description isn't the same.
Okay,
basically.
Go for it.
This description is interesting. So incels refuse to accept responsibility for their circumstances, instead believing their inability to attract women makes them victims of oppression. Like all groups under the umbrella of online misogyny known as the manosphere, they subscribe to the red pill conspiracy theory, which is they believe men are the true victims of gendered oppression, that male power has been usurped, and that feminism is a front to disguise men's subjugation. That is a description. Wow, and the thing said, thank you very much. That's the red pill. So that was very interesting. Where they refuse to accept responsibility for their circumstances, instead believing their inability makes them victims of oppression.
That's it. Yeah, because it's if you get rejected by every girl that you approach, the problem is not the girl.
No,
the problem's not the girl. The girl, it's not the girl's fault that you're getting rejected.
No.
So,
I mean, I'm sure you'll find one or two who aren't very nice. But yes, in general, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If it keeps on happening,
It's like,
well,
there might be another.
could be a problem.
You probably are the common factor.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just to sort of
This is cool. Sorry, go next.
Cool. Yeah, just from my side and the way that I've looked into all of this kind of thing, when it talks about when you hear sort of about the red pill type of thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
From my understanding of it, because I'm very interested in it.
You are, please.
From where I'm coming from with that, it's more of just an understanding of how the dynamics work between men and women, and a lot of people do lump a lot of it in sort of this misogynistic way of thinking, which I would, if we got onto that conversation, I'd probably defend it a little bit more with regards to.
You're welcome to do.
We're not talking about that now. We're going to keep it to the incels.
Fair enough.
But it's more of, it's in general more sort of just a new understanding of how things work and how dating works and all of that kind of thing. I don't know why I'm doing that with my hand, and I like talking with my hands. Maybe I'm a third Italian. And
do you know what they believe in a social hierarchy? I'm sure you've read. I find it very, very interesting because at the apex of it are people that are men that they call Chads, which is hyper athletic, attractive males who women desire instinctively.
Giga Chad.
Then beneath them are the descending classes of betas. At the lowest point are incels, whose innate characteristics make them unable to attract women. So they see themselves right at the bottom, and these Chads are basically what they wish that they could be.
Yeah.
And they don't like them, obviously, but they kind of like revere the Chads, but they hate the Chads at the same time. And it's like, so these Chads are taking everything that we should be having and leaving us with nothing. So they're right at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, and what a very common thing with regards to these sort of incel type guys is that they believe that some of them, I think they believe sort of very idealistically in, a little bit too idealistically in traditional love and romance, and they think that they are owed sex and affection because of them being such good gentlemen and being that nice guy that's not that toxic male that she keeps falling for. It's like, I'm not going to be that. I'm going to be different.
Yeah.
And then wonders why.
Well,
That kind of thing. And
we're still with the incels, not going off the page there. But I kind of agree but don't agree. But that doesn't matter for now. It doesn't matter for now. Carry on.
Yeah. So that sort of goes onto my next point. Like what I have here in my notes is that incels seem to invest or overinvest heavily in the narrative of idealized romance and inverted commas pursuing a woman like they think a chivalrous gentleman should.
Yeah.
They are then overly upset and angry when the women reject them.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of thing, because they think they've done everything right.
Yeah.
They think they've done what they've been told by romantic comedies and Disney and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they see it not working, they react very, very negatively, to the point of getting violent.
Yeah, and that's where we were going to move to, because that was the part, which the disclaimer, that's the word I'm looking for. Disclaimer was just saying, this, it's not for everybody. Yeah, so that's the lighter version. And the question is, how do they go from that to to actually attacking, shooting, killing? That's what's been happening, women,
Yes.
and obviously it's not everybody.
No.
But within the incels, it seems to go a lot darker, a lot more intense than just, hey, I'm an incel. You can tell me more, but I think tell me this. I think a higher portion of the people, of incels. Okay, let me go back. Would you say that every incel is attracted to violence or attracted to wanting to hurt somebody?
Definitely not. I wouldn't say so. But
there's a percentage.
Yes, it was a very small percentage.
A very small percentage.
And I think we can think back to our previous episode.
Yeah.
Where not everyone with the traits, with the commonalities, that displays commonalities that school shooters have had, not everyone is going to be a school shooter just because they were bullied at school, or maybe expelled because of some certain reason. But you're going to get guys who, a very small percentage, like we said, who are
extreme.
Yeah, and they will come to that point where they make that choice.
There we
where
go.
They decide that they are so angry and yet feel so entitled, or they feel so entitled and then not get what they think they're entitled to, that they will now go off and specifically target women.
I actually saw
in their violent expression,
and it's always
emotion.
Violent.
Yeah.
I actually saw. I don't know how I saw it. I mean, this was one of the reasons. Well, no, in fact, that was the reason why I actually, found out about incel. There was a guy caught on camera going around a campus spraying tear gas at random women. Like everywhere he went, he just found women and he tear gassed them.
That's
and that is I would pretty much say he is in that percentage of someone exactly what you're saying. They just take their own emotions, which have now been built, and then they just think, okay, well, it's my right. I'm just going to go and hurt somebody, and that's not killing, but I think it's from there. You just
that's a step away from that being a firearm instead of a can of mace.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still hurting. You're still causing injury.
Yes.
You're creating panic.
Yes.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, and then so then we get obviously the two, I would say, the two most infamous sort of incel violence. Let's try and get my wording right here. The two most infamous events of violence regarding incels, which was the first one, which was a guy by the name of Elliot Rodger.
He was the original, huh?
Yes.
And he's the guy that a lot of the, of that percentage, they look up to him like I wouldn't say a deity, but he is idolized.
And he's revered.
Yes, and they actually use his name in their mantra.
Yes. So
now, what did this guy do?
So Elliot Rodger, firstly, red flags abounded, and he was posting very angry videos on social media where he basically just said that he got to a point where he said, tomorrow is the day that I will reap retribution on women, because he literally it was literally the reason that the women were rejecting him, and he could not understand, he could not get through his head why these women were rejecting him. He said he was the perfect guy. He said he was the supreme gentleman. And if you watch those videos, it's creepy as hell.
No, he's very chilling.
He was incredibly angry.
Yeah,
he was, and the crazy thing was, he wasn't a bad-looking dude.
No,
he wasn't.
I thought he would get girls for sure, dude.
But there was something mental in there that he really
definitely.
Yeah, and so then he went on a shooting spree. Yeah. I forget the city that he was in. But he went on a shooting spree near a girls' sorority house.
Sorority house, yeah. That's right.
And opened fire and took out a bunch of girls. I think he also targeted a couple of rather good-looking guys as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was mainly the women.
He actually went to one of these sorority houses, and he banged on the door. It must have been, I don't know, late at night. I'm not sure, but I think it was nighttime. And he banged on the door the whole time, and and they, and the girls in there, they just chose like, no, this is dodgy, and they didn't leave him in. So then he went past their place, and around the corner there were 3 girls,
and he took them.
And there were 2 who died from that, and one who got badly injured.
Yeah, and then there was a guy by the name of Alec Manassian.
Okay.
And he rented a van and went on a driving spree, smashing the van into people walking on a sidewalk, specifically targeting women. And he killed quite a few people, injured a bunch more before he was eventually arrested. And he, in his sort of online sort of manifesto or sort of rantings online, basically said, all hail the supreme gentleman, Elliot Rodger. So that was a big...
that's very creepy.
Yeah, so he took inspiration. And so you had that. So those are the two pretty... we haven't really had... I don't think we've had anything massively newsworthy with regards to guys who are specifically incel now creating... sort of going out onto a violent spree.
No, but they're doing things, for example, that, well, what I mentioned, on that video of the guy going around and using mace.
Yeah.
So it's not killing,
but it's harming.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd have a look at sort of what kind of guys they actually are.
Yeah.
And sort of go into a little bit of, see if we can unpack why they have these thoughts and these attitudes.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to be reading off my notes here.
That's fine. That's what they're there for.
Let me just see where I am here. Okay, so we talk about they invested heavily in romantic ideals. They seem to be also part of an increasing Lost Boys generation, where they are young men without purpose, rudderless, really have nothing really going for them.
Rudderless, okay, yeah.
Much, maybe they don't even have jobs, don't really have fantastic sort of social skills, and then when learning about how dating works and stuff, they get even more nihilistic about it, and they're not able to. They don't want to sort of. They have this knowledge, but then they almost don't want to cross this kind of the abyss to try and work on what they can work on in order to improve themselves, to become better. Let's see what we got here.
I read that that if you're an incel, and then you somehow get a date, that you're pretty. I wouldn't say you're shunned, but you are looked at a whole lot differently than everybody else as an incel. In the sense, when you're an incel and you actually do sort yourself out and you do get a date,
And you're shamed by the
repercussions are like, oh, okay, so now you're one of them, and like they don't go, hey, well done, or like, how did you do it? They're like, no, you're one of them now.
Yeah. There's a phrase to describe that.
Yep.
Crabs in a bucket. Because what will happen if you have a bunch of crabs in a bucket?
Yeah.
If one crab tries to climb out,
Yeah.
the other crabs will pull it back in.
Yank them down.
Yeah. And that's what happens. So your tribe is now shaming you. You're part of a tribe. You're accepted. But now you've made the decision that you want to leave that tribe.
Yeah.
And go to another tribe. Your tribe now doesn't want anything to do with you. And like, yeah.
It's possible though with the crabs that the bucket is like really, really slippery and plasticky, and they're not going to get out anyways.
Probably not. But they're trying.
You know what? At least they'll try.
At least they're trying.
I appreciate that from them. Well done, crabs.
So they can't cross this abyss and work to improve themselves, to be more attractive, to learn social skills necessary for successful outcomes with women. And it's like they don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
in order to get themselves to a better place, and so they'll just sort of go further and further into this depressive, very doom and gloom type of attitude.
Yeah,
where it's like, well, there's no hope. They'll just like, no, dude, there is hope, kind of thing. But they just don't want to see it, or they look at how much work they have to do, and they go, oh, that's just too much work for me. I'm not going to do it.
I think a lot of them are content actually, where they are in the sense that there's a lot of focus on them, and they actually, if they were going to change, then they would lose out a little bit of this identity of. I just feel that there are many in there that don't want to change.
Well, thank you, because
it's a pleasure, Bruce.
Like what you just said, they have an identity.
Yep.
It might be online in some forum with a whole bunch of other guys that
but
they
feel part of.
But they feel part of a community. They feel accepted. They feel part of a tribe.
They do, Bruce.
Feel part of a tribe.
Sorry, I'm kidding. Carry on. I'm in the middle of your powerful moment. I'm playing with the hands.
And
yes, Bruce. Sorry.
And oh man, I had another thought going.
I stopped you with the hands. I apologize.
Cool, don't stress. And yeah, you said something else that resonated with me. Oh no, I can't remember it.
Okay, I mentioned that they were part of
contentment.
Contentment, that's what I said. Yes.
And I believe that contentment, especially for guys, is actually a bad thing. I believe that that you should always be pushing to improve in any area. It doesn't matter if it's work or finances or physical fitness or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe your skill, just social skills with women. Always work on improving. There's fine. You get to the top of that mountain. Like, no, there's another mountain to climb now. Go for it. Go.
Yeah.
And these guys get content, and they're like, well, what's the point?
I think they actually get content in the sense where, I'm with you, where they actually, I think it's difficult maybe for somebody to get out of the incel identity. And I think many choose, I think they can also be content in the sense, where they, sorry, I'm saying exactly the same thing as we were saying, where they are actually accepted and loved in where they are. And then it's like, well, why do I actually need to go anywhere else? Because, and they actually, and I think also the focus as like, you're the incels, like, yep. And I'm actually, being focused on, I'm an incel. I'm proud of it.
And
maybe, I don't know. Sorry.
And let's be honest here. To make big changes in your life is a risk. It's a huge risk, especially if you're so comfortable and you're so set in one mindset.
Yeah.
And you now are trying to change that mindset.
Yes.
I was the same thing. I mean, I had to.
Were you an incel? I'm just checking. As you said, you're the same.
Oh man,
just want to clear it.
Damn it! Let me talk.
I just want to clear it up for everybody watching or listening.
But like, if I think about how I was terrible with girls. I was the nice guy.
Yeah.
I was the nice guy, and I had to learn the social skills
Social skills. There we go.
that and what is called game, basically, which is kind of just social skills with women, because girls want a guy who just gets it. They don't want to have stuff explained to them. You've just got to get it, which is a horribly
That's confusing.
vague.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's a very vague.
But let's
term.
just carry on. It's fine.
But the skills and the knowledge are there to be learned.
Yeah.
It's not like it's impossible. But yeah, these a very small percentage of guys will pull themselves out of that. They'll go like I looked at myself and I said, this is a problem and I need to solve it. And I need to change things because I could see certain little unhealthy. We've had this conversation before in a lot more depth, but I could see unhealthy traits.
Yeah.
And no one helped me. No one said, Bruce, you got a problem. I looked at myself and I said, Bruce, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
And you better learn how to do this.
Yeah. But
And
thankfully you weren't though at the inside point, which
Thank
is what we're
goodness.
discussing.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness, and I was able to learn those skills.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
so thankful that I did.
So going from there, are you saying that a lot of them just don't have social skills? And I feel that they wouldn't. And I know what you're saying about nobody was there to help guide you. But let's go to the incel side though. If they don't have anybody to help them out at that point in their mindset, I don't believe that they can get out of it if there's no one to help and guide them out of it.
It's like they're too far gone.
I feel that they can change, so I don't think they're gone. But I think that they will definitely need people around them or in their lives that actually speak truth and can say, hey, this is how.
Yeah.
And number two, that I'm sure that their self-image is also, it's rock. I wouldn't say rock bottom, but it's very low.
Think about.
So it's a bit of work.
Yeah. Now
And love.
Yeah, and you think about how you say would there be someone who would be able to help a guy who's so ingrained in, who's so invested in that mindset?
Yeah.
Think back to the movie The Matrix, and Morpheus says we don't like to unplug people after a certain age because their mind can't handle the change. Could that also happen to someone who's that invested in one mindset, and you do try and pull them out, and they maybe can't handle? I don't know, which is also an interesting sort of factor. But so yeah, what have I got here? Okay, that's repeating a little bit of what. So yeah, when it comes to their sort of outlook with women and looking at relationships and stuff, men have been found to definitely be more idealistic than actually more idealistic than women when it comes to love. If we think of all the songs that have been written, all that kind of thing, and incels, I think, have tended to believe the commercialized hype of romance and romantic comedies and yeah, like I said earlier, perform as a gentleman chivalrously and whatever, that they are now owed sex and affection and relationship, and that's just not the case. So yeah. A lot of men are now being accused of being angry at life and women, but I believe that they are more angry at themselves for believing certain things, and this is when they struggle to change and improve.
My view is I don't think the majority are angry at themselves. That they've accepted. I think that their mentality is to a point where there is no anger. I just feel that there's so much focus on the woman being the problem, the woman being the fault, that they don't actually see that they have an issue. So for me, it can definitely be the case. I can say absolutely, for a percentage. I just feel a lot of them, I think if they have anger, is probably pushed more towards the female side. And because from what I've been reading, a lot of them don't think they've done anything wrong.
Yeah.
They don't look at themselves. They look at other as to this is why I am who I am, but they don't. So what I'm saying, yes, but no.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry. The anger at themselves is sometimes as a result of learning how the dating game actually works.
Okay.
And then being very angry that they didn't know this 10 years ago, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then they're like, you know, I can't believe I wasted so much time. And then what happens is then they will struggle with that improvement and then give up and go, you know what? Okay, I've got the knowledge, but it's not going to help. I'm not even gonna make it. So why the hell should I even bother? Yeah. And then that gets very sad because that can just go to a place of self-harm or harming of others. And that. I think I tend to believe that the many guys also probably believe people when they said just be yourself, which I don't.
No, I think where we're going, and don't get me wrong, I think we're going to veer off to relationship stuff
so?
and because that's not true. No, in your view it is. No. I think you're coming in from one side, so I'm just saying. Be careful of blanket statements.
Okay.
Because that's a blanket statement.
Yeah.
So no, I don't agree with on that one. So what I'm trying to say is let's not veer off too much to the other side of the relational.
Cool.
Sorry, this is just us, because we have done the episode on dating and and women and stuff, and I feel like it can go across to there.
Yeah, I just thought that a lot of them might have sort of invested in that.
Yeah, but for you to put a blanket statement like that, it's in your view, that's not true. In your view, in my view, I'm saying that's a blanket statement.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is why we enjoy it.
Yeah. What thoughts have you got?
I've got a final thing if we're done.
I'm going with 5 minutes.
Okay, well, you can add. I want to end that the question now is what needs to be done to actually tackle this whole thing of incels.
Yeah.
And actually, how to stop these actions. And by the way, there were more attacks.
Oh, I can imagine. I think those two were sort of the more.
Well, there was one in Britain that was the worst mass shooting. And I'll tell you who this person was. Jack Davison. And basically he went in and he shot 6 people dead.
Oh, my word.
In Plymouth. Which included his... Okay, I'm not going to go that intense. One. But that was but in Britain's term, okay, which shows the complete polar opposite of America. Okay, this was basically called the deadliest mass shooting in Britain in over 10 years, and that was 6 people.
Oh wow!
It shows the complete polar opposite to America. I mean, 6 in America, probably not much of a major blip. Well, I mean, it'll be a blip, but and this in the UK was actually the biggest. Yeah. So and he had also been online as well.
Yeah.
And he called his mother, for example, abusive, disgusting, vile. And then he also uploaded videos where he described himself as an incel.
Okay.
He said, I am an incel. And then he bemoaned, and his issue was that he hadn't lost his virginity as a teenager. Yeah. So he was just mad at the world, mad at women, because that's one thing. It's minor, but to him, he blamed women that he wasn't able to lose his virginity as a teenager, which to me, that's okay. You don't have to lose it when you're a teenager.
Elliot Rodger was angry that he was still 22 and was still a virgin. So.
I was older, just being honest.
So was I.
So, yeah. So, I mean, if you have anything more, otherwise I want to end off with something slightly positive, as in, what can we do? What needs to be done?
Yeah, no, I think let's end on a positive note. I think that's probably best.
Yeah, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read from this article. It's not me making this up. This is actually very, very interesting. So one of their what they were wanting to do, what's after this British thing that happened, they wanted to regulate websites such as Reddit. On Reddit you can find,
I know, Reddit, 4chan,
good, bad, 4chan, exactly.
Yeah.
And they said that more work is needed, from these big tech companies to identify potentially harmful posts and remove them.
Didn't they ban the incel subreddit?
I don't know.
I think they did because of
I can check
the stuff that was.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They actually. I think they did ban it.
We did, okay.
So
cool.
that's why.
Okay.
That's why you had then other sites like 4chan and they popping up because these guys needed a place to congregate and commiserate.
And then they were also, hoping, that charities or organizations, can actually find a format where they're going to, teach young and vulnerable people about the dangers of online communities.
Yeah.
Such as incels and blah, blah, blah. And then they also said that more education is required to address misogyny online, because that is part of the whole problem.
Yeah.
Online and offline, and identifying when someone says something with potential harm. So yeah, I mean, I think in both of these episodes, this and the prior one, social media it can be angelic and it can be demonic. In the sense of like it can be really, really good and healthy, and with everything it can be very, very dark and totally unhealthy. And I think the whole cry really is, how do we help and grow the, for example, if we have kids, or nephews or whatever, to actually be there. And when you're hearing certain stuff, because dude, I mean, the amount of stuff that they hear from schoolmates, and most of it's crappy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I sit with my nephews once in a while, and they are in high school.
Yeah.
When we just I'm talk about the day and work and PC stuff and and school stuff, and it's just interesting, like the stuff that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
There's like a breeding ground in school that if your child or nephew isn't morally strong or morally that they can start to believe certain things, and then the more that it comes up, and then they're going onto Reddit or 4chan. So what they're trying to say here is, let's just try and do our best at every opportunity and in every format that we can to try and educate people, educate the youngsters, educate the young guys to a point where if they come across certain, misogyny / incel stuff, they'll realize, that's fake and it's not healthy.
Yeah. I think from my side, if anyone out there is listening to this and they can relate, and they are maybe even at the point where they consider themselves an incel. Maybe they're just a guy out there who's really just struggling in the area of women and stuff like that. And, there is hope.
For sure.
You can change yourself, but you've got to be willing to do the work. And no one's going to do that work for you.
But and you can also reach out.
You can reach
to
out.
Other guys around you.
Can.
And maybe...
Not within the incel community.
Exactly. Maybe like healthy, like a brother or a friend or a father figure or someone like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you need to talk about it, because a lot of people, if they don't talk about it, then it gets pushed down and down and down and down until all of a sudden they're on the Reddits. And I think a lot of people on the Reddit sites, I think it's almost like they're trying to, I wouldn't say farm, I mean, trying to like actually, to draw in more
maybe
into their, I don't know.
Recruit.
In all seriousness, I don't know if they are, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are some, those very extreme ones.
Yeah.
I think a lot of.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But that's the amazing thing about the human brain is it's malleable and it's changeable.
Absolutely.
And your personality is malleable. You can change. You can change for the better.
And sometimes it'll take.
And that mindset change it's a tough thing to do, but it is possible.
But that's why I'm saying it's easier when you see it, and it's easier when there's others around to help you. Because a lot of the time, it's difficult if you don't have that. So yes,
I didn't reach out to anybody, but I saw the problem.
Yeah.
And I was at the point where I could still change my mindset.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. So
yeah. Cool. Sure.
Awesomeness.
That was yakka, dude. Yeah. Totally yakka. Thanks, pal.
Thank you very much for that chat.
Guys, thank you.
Cool.
I'm done.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and
all that
engage
kind
with
of
us in the comments.
Good stuff, and thank you for the people who do engage with us.
Awesome.
It's always enjoyable. Thank you, guys.
Have a look, guys.
Adios.
Bye.